Hey guys.
What up?
How you doing?
We're here with
Yes.
another two straws.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God.
I know. Sorry. I lied when I said I was ready. I know.
Two straws here. Jess is finally done fidgeting. And we're ready to talk about
Almost.
This is why. This is why they just started letting women compete in Saudi Arabia. Things like this.
But seriously,
no. We had a great weekend of fights in Abu Dhabi.
I
That was what. Did you watch all of them?
almost all of them.
Okay, I could only catch the main event, but I took a little extra time to watch the strawweight fight on the prelims too.
It was a good one.
Yeah, not the main event, the main card. I keep doing that. I keep saying main event when I mean main card.
I mean,
but
I get what you mean.
yes,
Yes.
but they might not. I watched more than one fight.
I mean, I watched most of them. I watched all the main card and then most of the preliminary card.
Cool.
But yes.
Yeah. So, well, since it's fresh in my head, let's start with the main event. The
Oh, yeah.
actual main event, not the main card.
Not the okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification.
Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Man. So I feel like Umar being in the bantamweight division is a good trade-off for losing Makai. It's kind of like a better version, or not better, but a more exciting version. And I feel like Makayev was trying to touch on that, like throwing some big kicks, trying to be a little more flashy in his fight. But alas, it wasn't enough to stop himself from getting cut.
There can only be one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have won in the Battle Dome cage fighting scenario.
Yeah. Umar's a little better at it. But it was really interesting seeing the stylistic matchup between him and Corey Sandhagen. Corey was doing a lot of things right.
Too late though.
A
In
little
the fourth
too late.
and fifth round, I think he finally started figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, the first round was really good. It was a really good first round for Corey Sandhagen. I think that's the round that he won on the scorecards just because he was pushing Umar back. He wasn't really doing a lot of damage, but he was pushing. He was landing shots that were getting blocked and just scoring more on the volume side and doing really good defensively. But then Umar just started picking him apart when it came to finding the timing on the wrestling, figuring out where to land the strikes, defending the leg kicks. Yeah, it was just a really interesting stylistic matchup. And then I feel like Umar's grappling attack was just able to set everything up for him to take out Corey.
He had really great shots and reactions to the shots, like follow-ups. So most of his takedowns, he leads really well with the right leg because he's down southpaw. And so that's, kind of his jab, although he did use more hands than he normally does. And he really, he follows that lead orthodox side, or sorry,
Which one? Lead left or lead right?
The lead right.
The lead right.
The lead left.
Southpaw.
The lead left.
Orthodox.
Wait.
What are you talking about? All right,
So
go. You got this.
He shoots on the lead leg really well.
Okay.
Of Sandhagen. He does that in most of his fights. He followed the kick in, he took the back, he shot double legs, he took the back. He just really gets in off of his opponent's orthodox stance lead leg really, really well. And I thought it was impressive that Corey, would roll and counter the takedowns, but it just was more defensive than offensive. He couldn't switch it around.
Yeah. It was just I don't know, he was behind. He was behind for most of it, except for that first round. But even then, he couldn't really open up as much as he wanted to because he knew that shot was coming. He knew if he went with his normal calf kick attack that eventually Umar would grab it, circle around to the back. And Umar's calf kick defense was really good too. Most people eat a few, it slows him down against Corey, but he was able to lift the leg, kind of bend that knee and make a point, and it feels like you're kicking a table, and then you don't really get too much calf meat. You're hitting the point of the leg. You're hurting your foot more than you're hurting their leg, and I think that was a really good reaction on Umar's team. They had that defense down pat. Like every time, no matter how fast Corey's leg kicks were, usually he was able to check him.
I thought that in the fourth round, Corey did a good job of pushing Nurmagomedov back with his strikes. Kind of like in the first round, he used his striking better. But in the fifth round, I was impressed because he started mixing in those takedown attempts, the feints, the fakes.
Yeah.
And it started making Nurmagomedov actually bite on him and slowed him down and started messing with Nurmagomedov's offense. And if he could have done that earlier in the fight, I don't know if it would have changed the whole landscape of the fight, but it would have at least tighten it up. It would have made it a little bit closer. Not that it wasn't competitive.
No.
But I think that he finally figured it out in the fifth really well with the game plan that could work really well for him.
Yeah, even though it was probably a round that he lost.
Yes.
It was just that tactical idea of switching up. His corner was like, hey, let's go for some takedowns. That should have been from the get-go.
The whole
like
time.
you were saying. That first round would have been a lot more impressive if he was going for the takedowns, because even though he wasn't getting them, he was setting up his strikes from it.
Yes.
And that's one thing that Umar does really well. On a fluff takedown, he's striking immediately. He really chases the takedown. You think he's going to get it. You think he's fully committed to that single leg. But as soon as you break, he's throwing something up top. He's throwing a hook. He's throwing a kick, something like that. Corey does the same thing. But when you're fighting someone and their package is, this person is really good at this, they're really good at this, don't even try to do this to them because they're really good at it and they're better than you are at it, it can make you not want to do that.
Sure.
Make you not want to make the smarter fight IQ decisions of attacking in those areas.
It really is unfair to ourselves as fighters to put ourselves in that position when it's it's like the Sun Tzu art of war. You have to know yourself. You have to know your opponent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's awareness of patterns, not necessarily like, oh, I know that they're really good at this. Don't do this at all. Stay away from this. This is danger. When sometimes that could be the key to success.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I've been there before. I've been like, oh no, I definitely don't want to do this with this person. And who knows? It could have possibly led to, success.
Yeah, I keep going back to my Dern fight, and I'm like, man, there were some moments of success where I was able to get on her back, when I was able to get on top, and the fear of engaging in that actually ended up getting me in worse positions than if I had just grappled in the way that I do in a BJJ class, where there's no consequence for getting flipped over by the black belt who's been grappling however many years longer than me. But it's easy for ourselves to get put in this box and take away the things that got us there. And that's one thing that got Corey Sandhagen there, is switching up the levels, going for the takedown, either getting it or using that takedown to open up the hands up top.
Yeah, definitely a good learning lesson. I think that, what do you think about, Nurmagomedov was top 10 ranked, or he was number 10, number 7.
Oh, really?
But Corey Sandhagen was ranked number 2. So now in his post-fight, he's calling for a title shot.
I mean, that's what happens when you get these undefeated guys, though. The undefeated guys with the scary corner, with the scary records, with the first round finishes on all their fights, they get to jump ahead because either no one's trying to fight them in the top 15 except for someone like Corey Sandhagen, who just believes in his craft so well that he's like, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid of this guy. Or they just end up waiting and fighting people who everyone's like, oh, you're going to smash them anyway. So I think it's justified. I think it's justified that he jumps up to number 2, number 1, or at least like Corey moves down a few and then he's above Corey in the top 5. I think that's justified. And anyone in the top 5 can get the championship, what do you call it? Championship
Challenger.
Contender fight. Yeah, that's the one. Anyone can challenge in the top 5.
Well, I'd like to see Davidson next.
Ooh.
Personally, after his performance, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He just beat Marlon Vera. Impressive in his outing, although, Vera did make it competitive and pose some challenges, but I like Davidson next in line. That's just me, though.
I do too, but I think Corey is a much bigger pelt, you know, a much bigger win for Nurmagomedov than who did Davison fight? Then Marlon Vera. Just because Corey has the win over Marlon, just because he's been top 2 forever. Everyone who fights Corey and beats him gets to fight for the title shot. So I feel like that puts him ahead of it. And I don't know. I just like Davidson's fights. Even though both of them went to decision, I think Umar, just with his track record of beating so many people first round, I think that gets him ahead of Davison.
The argument, though, is he doesn't have as impressive as a resume.
For sure.
For the people that he's beat to get that 17-0.
For sure. But Davison's most impressive people are in flyweight, you know, aside from this last one. And we've seen a steady decline in Cheeto, too. I guess we could talk about that one next.
Yeah.
Cheeto Vera, he fought Davison Figueiredo. And we were talking about this in a preview show that we did last week. But he doesn't start fast enough.
And that was a fan question on that we wanted to address. It was, what do you say, or how do you, not necessarily specifically just to Vera, but when a fighter is notoriously a slow starter, how do you fix that?
A little hot sauce up the butthole.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's it's a mindset.
It's called a popper. Hot popper.
One, it's a mindset, but it's something that also, if it's not naturally in that person, it has to be trained into them. So it has to start in the gym. It has to start with the intensity of training. It can also help with the warm up backstage, maybe get him a round or two in before he even goes out to the fight. I know that's challenging energy expenditure wise, but there are things that you can do for a fighter that doesn't necessarily have that, you know, step it into gear right away.
Yeah, you have to look at what gets them there. Sometimes it's having a big crowd. Sometimes it's getting punched in the face. Sometimes it's just losing. Losing gets you there. You're like, oh, wait, I'm in a fight. Oh, no, I'm losing. Oh, I have to go for it. I have to commit to everything that I'm throwing. Otherwise, I'm going to lose. And then they put on an amazing performance. We kind of see that with Sam Hughes a bit, too. She'll lose a round and then come back a lot stronger when she feels a little more comfortable against her opponent. And I understand that with Vera, a lot of it's tactical. A lot of times he's benefited from making all his reads and not really acting on the things that he's seen right away, but setting those traps for the later rounds. But after that works for so many times, people are going to figure out that formula. They're going to figure out your go-tos when it comes to trap making, when it comes to your big finishing shots. And he's a one-hitter quitter, but if he doesn't land that one hit, then he's losing on points.
So he's one of those fighters for me. I think it needs to start in the gym. It needs to start with the training regimen. It needs to start in practices, and it really needs to be reinforced constantly, because what we've seen in his body of work is that's not working.
Yeah. Who's he training with right now?
I think he's still training with Perillo, boxing at Ruka. They said that he was training at, AOJ, doing, they mentioned a high school wrestling team, which is led by Jacob Harmon at Calvary Chapel. When I was, training up in Orange County, we would all go there and cross train. Really tough wrestling room. It's just, I think that the way he puts it together, I think he has all of the tools. It's just that extra gear, that 0 to 60 that's missing. And I understand that it's worked from him in the past, but it's not working anymore now.
And it's so hard to get out of that that tendency too. If you are used to just waiting, relaxing, and then going, and you had so much success with that in the past, and it's so hard to change things up. It's like telling a striker to be a grappler all of a sudden.
For sure. That's why it needs to start being reinforced.
Yeah, you got to put in the time in the gym. And a lot of it is mindset stuff too, where you have somebody pumping in these calls, pumping in these I guess, kind of code words for you to know, okay, it's time to go. It's like something, like there'll be a word. It's almost like hypnotism. Well, they're
Squirrel.
Yeah. All of a sudden, your adrenaline starts going, your heart's pumping, your armpits start sweating, you know, like all the things that let you know, okay, it's time to go. Your eyes get wide. And that's what you have to do when you're even doing your conditioning sets, when you're doing sprints. You have to think, all right, round 1, go, bam. You know, you're going. You're straight out the bell. And sometimes I think people are afraid of getting tired. I think that's why I've had slow starts in the past. Like, I'm afraid of getting tired. I'm afraid of putting it all out there, and then my opponent is still fresh, and then I'm like, fuck, now what? But
that's my number one thing.
Yeah.
Especially in training. I know that we train, or we fight the way that we train.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are constantly trying to conserve energy, constantly trying to make sure that we don't gas out, that's the way that we're going to fight.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm definitely working on, and that I'm having like those, you know, internal conversations with, because I understand that cardio is a huge aspect to a winning recipe.
Mm-hmm. So what I do to deal with that, because it's something that I feel like I've just now started getting better with, is just focusing on the recovery part. And it's something that you do your entire career, but the more energy you put into that recovery part and believing in that recovery part, the better you're going to be able to fully commit while you're going. So the work is one part. Like, you have to expend all your energy on the work set. And then when you're recovering, you're mainly focusing on getting your heart rate back down and being able to go just as hard as you just did. And the more you do that, the closer your first round and your second round are going to be when it comes to output. But if you never fully commit on the first round, then your second round is never going to be fully commit too. You're never going to get that recovery, benefit that you would get in a fight, because in a fight, you have to fully commit, especially if someone's on you, especially if you're fighting something crucial, like fighting a takedown, fighting to get away from your opponent after they dropped you, fighting to knock them out, full output there, and then you didn't work on that recovery part, then it's not going to translate the same. So I think that's the scary part, is when you do train for long periods of time, like, yeah, you're not going to want to gas out the first 10 minutes of training because you have another 50 minutes to go. But at the same time, going super hard in the first round in training, and then focusing on that recovery, and then going super hard in the second round, that's how you get to where you need to be in a fight, to just keep going. Mm-hmm. So it's a hard thing to do, because nobody wants to get beat up by their training partners. And it's something that can definitely happen if you gas out in training. But it's better to do it in the training room than to do it in a fight.
100%.
Yeah, so that's how I deal with it. But still, you're always going to have that anxiety of really opening up and getting tired or getting sloppy, and then your opponent reacting and capitalizing on it. And you have to give credit to his dance partner too, like Deiveson Figueiredo. He's fast, he's tiny, he's like compact. So a lot of the stuff that he wants to throw, he has to time it out. He has to figure out when he's going to attack. Otherwise, he's going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. It's been impressive to see Davidson move up a weight class and have the success in the top 10 that he has. I'm excited to see his next fight. I'm excited to see him get that title shot. I'm not going to jinx it or anything, but I think that it's going to happen sooner than later. I think what he does so well is just put everything together. He's excellent with his striking. He's excellent with his takedowns. He's excellent with his jiu-jitsu. And the way he just puts it all together is a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. It's so exciting to watch. He has great reads, great fight IQ. And now that he's not killing himself to make weight, I think that we're going to see just another evolution every time he comes out.
Yeah, I'd like to see how he looks against another guy who's gonna bring it with him and see how that cardio.
Maybe Umar could be the next one.
I mean, that would be fair. Yeah. I feel like that would be fair, because who else is waiting for that title shot right now? You still have to have Merab fight O'Malley for the belt.
Yeah.
So after that, there's going to be a lot of time for the champ to recover.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think that would make a lot of sense, especially because they're both calling for title shots. Like, hey, you two new guys fight each other for the top. Quit beating up on all these guys who've been there, and you see the game plan already.
Yeah.
I feel like Davison, he was able to wait a lot in this fight too. And we didn't really see him push that pace in the way that we've seen him in his flyweight fights. And that's the part where we're like, okay, he's a little vulnerable when he starts to gas out, like we're saying Cheeto's afraid of. I mean, I don't know if Cheeto's afraid of. That's my assumption of why he waits, on top of the fact that he's trying to find that perfect shot. But Figueiredo never really had that problem. He just goes and gasses out.
Yeah.
And even Sean O'Malley wrote a little snide remark on Twitter.
Did he?
While
What did he
they were
say?
fighting. He said, "Oh, look at Figueiredo trying not to gas out during the second round." During the second round. And that was Cheeto's best round. He was able to land some sneaky little body shots. I think it was more the body shots than the gas tank.
Yeah.
With that, like Cheeto really whips it around.
Everything he throws is with power.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another reason why he keeps that pace is because he's constantly kind of trying to recover from those big, heavy shots. Because that takes a lot out of you. Whether you're hitting somebody or missing somebody, power shots require a lot of energy.
Yeah. I like the jump knees that he was throwing at the end. He threw one in the first round and kind of got it taken down. But it was another timing issue, which is another reason why sometimes it's good to wait, because you get the timing, you get the rhythm of the person you're fighting, and then you know exactly when to go. But that third round was, he was opening up a little bit more, but it was still Figueiredo's round. Yeah, it was a good fight though. I'm excited about having Figueiredo in there. I think a fight between him and Umar Nurmagomedov would be nuts.
That makes sense.
It would be nuts. Maybe we could get it in October.
Ooh.
Yeah, take him back over there to not Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Yeah, who's the headliner on that? They already have that, right?
Yeah, they do. Is it Whitaker and
he's the
Chimaev?
co-main?
They're the co-main.
Yeah, and then they just announced. Is it Holloway? Is it that one?
Is that? Oh yeah, Holloway and Taporia.
Let me look.
Could it be? No. Yeah. That's October 26th.
I don't know. I didn't look. I saw it pop up and I was like, oh, interesting. Cyril Gahn's back. We got this person versus this person. But I don't remember the headliner.
Yeah, that's the main.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we have, that's a great main card. So Ilya Taporia and Max Holloway, Robert Whitaker, and Khamzat Chimaev, and then Cyril Gahn and Alexander Volkov.
Ooh. I don't think they'd have any space for it, but put them in there anyway. We don't care.
Yeah. Ooh, and Lerone Murphy is fighting Dan Ige on that card.
Yeah, they'd get bumped. We did Davison versus Umar, but I'm really happy for Lerone and Dan Ige. Dan Ige is such a G after what he did at UFC 300. And Lerone Murphy, he's someone that we knew in the past at Alliance MMA. He finally broke into the top 10 or top 15, I believe. So, yeah, that's going to be a good one for sure. So, what did you think about your boy, Sharaputdin versus Linjanchuk?
Well, do you remember me saying I thought he was going to take it?
You thought he was going to smash him.
I did not say smash.
I
did not say smash.
I said it's going to be a lot closer fight than people think.
You said that, but I didn't say he was going to get smashed.
You said he was going to kick the shit out of him.
I did not.
And his kicks were the weakest thing of that fight.
I did not say that.
This guy kicks like a middleweight Michelle Watterson. His kicks throw him backwards. And Linjanchuk was doing a really good job.
You're just mad because he kicked you out of the pictures.
Hey, if he physically kicked me, I'd probably still be in the picture.
You'd probably giggling.
Because he'd bounce out of the picture, not me. He doesn't put any weight in his kicks. It's very like taekwondo, or not taekwondo,
They're
very
snappy,
karate
though.
style. If they land, they're great. But I think a lot of people with that style in MMA are gonna get smashed by wrestlers, and that's what you saw Olinjinchek. He's not a wrestler. Like he's not like a.
But he showed a really nice wrinkle to his game. Those body locks,
Yeah.
when he was fighting, when he was in the pocket, because he's primarily a boxer as a mixed martial artist. But I really hadn't seen him utilize the body lock and the takedowns the way he did in this fight. It was really impressive. I will say though, looking at him, watching footage before this fight and watching this fight, I want to see him at 170. I think middleweight is just too big. Not that he's not doing well, but he's very like hot and cold in it. And I would really like to see him go down to 170.
Sometimes when you see a guy like that, they don't like losing that power when they cut weight. And you see that same thing with Kevin Holland. He'll go up and down, and he feels better at the heavier weight class, but then he has better performances at the smaller weight class. So you never know with guys, but I thought he did a good job of just showing the game plan, showing the blueprint for how to beat this guy, because he had a lot of success. They weren't really talking about it in the commentary, but he had a lot of success in the first round, punching off of the kicks. I think that's the main thing that people are going to pick up on, that and just being able to go straight to that takedown off of the cot kick. Yep. And if you're throwing your legs up constantly without a strong wrestling game, without a strong like counter grappling game, then that's really what Sharon needs to work on going forward, is being able to pop back up, being able to get his leg back, or just set up the kick so they're not going to be able to catch it, take his back, get right to the body lock like you were saying. But yeah, I don't see Olinjinchek as a grappler, and he was really able to make Shara look like he didn't have much wrestling on the feet. So I'm looking at the top 15, and I'm like,
no, that's
you got some work.
Absolutely,
you got some work.
After he's done making his movie, get back in the gym.
After he's done making his movie, hopefully no longer collecting assault charges in in malls.
I did not hear about that.
No, dude, this guy's a menace. So
wow,
in his home country, or his home state in Russia, I'm not sure what it is, but it's really looked down upon to have PDA, like public displays of affection. So he got charged with an assault charge for beating up a guy who kissed his girlfriend in front of him.
What?
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah. Yeah, there's video. It came out. It happened in 2022, so before he was in the UFC. But yeah, it's like, it's an assault charge. They have like footage of it and everything. The guy in front of him was kissing his girlfriend, and it wasn't like they were like making out. Like, he leans over, gives her a peck on an escalator. Shara's behind him. He leans over. Hey, brother, why you PDA in front of me? The guy's like, what are you going to do about it? He punches him in the face, and then a fight breaks out, and the guy was doing all right. Like, I don't know. I don't know who that guy is. Maybe they have to sign him to the UFC, but the guy was doing okay. He held his own. So he held his own so bad that Shara left, came back with 3 of his homies, and sucker punched the guy as he was leaving the mall.
What?
Jumped on him, stomped him in the head, and it was just like, that's what you get.
And then what happened
for
with those
kissing
charges?
your girlfriend?
Jeez.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
No, straight up.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Like, why? It baffles me that people feel so entitled to insert themselves in situations that have nothing to do with them.
Yeah. So in his defense,
trolls.
which I'm not defending that hard, but just for full clarity, this is something that I guess is a normal reaction in that place, that place in Russia. So like, you don't show public displays of affection. People will talk to you. I guess if you're a tourist, people will just like say, hey, that's not really cool here. But I guess the guy was from Moscow or something, where it's allowed. You can kiss your girlfriend in Moscow. Woo. And he found it disrespectful that the guy would. Yeah. He's trying to spread their wild ideals to his tiny area.
So it's not necessarily uncommon, but it was obviously severe enough that there would be assault charges.
Yes.
Because it was, he crossed a line from just punching him in the face once to now
he came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just a quick scuffle. He came back. He had 3 guys with him, and he stomped them in the head.
What a shame.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah. And then I saw another video of him getting mad at a jiu-jitsu tournament. He got heel hooked. He tapped. It was really fast. It didn't seem like the guy held it or anything. Like, you know how sometimes you get mad at jiu-jitsu tournaments. Someone will hold a submission and you're like, what the fuck, bro? But the guy got him with a heel hook. He tapped, and then he turns around and kicks him and like just stands over him and tries to intimidate him afterwards.
Guy, you are keeping your publicist working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. You can't do that stuff anymore.
So I don't know if this makes him more likable or less in the average MMA fan's eyes, but
less. I'm leaning towards less.
You never know, man. You never know. People are like, oh, well, it's cultural. It's just the way he is. He's a badass. Look at him in his eye. I wonder how that happened.
Listen, if I understand that there's a cultural thing, but if I was over there in a place where PDA is not acceptable or wearing certain things is not acceptable, I'm going to abide by those cultural norms out of respect.
Yeah.
And I would hope that somebody who comes here can do the same.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. I'm not going to go to, one of them countries where they're like, yeah, women cover up and like walk out in a thong bikini. You know, showing all my skin. All my ankles exposed. But, you respect the culture and stuff. You kind of figure that stuff out before you go. I think, I just think it was a overreaction to something that people would usually just like maybe stare at or just be like, oh, I can't believe they're doing that.
Or
yeah,
like a normal person.
Yeah, exactly. Just talk shit. Don't like insert yourself. It's just a really strange. Don't come back and jump the person after you already made a point.
That's pretty unnecessary.
Yeah, it's so weird. So weird. And it shows you how different people are from different countries.
Sure.
That's a thing that you have to worry about.
Makes me quite thankful to be where I am, to be honest.
On a lighter note, I thought it was pretty funny that when they showed Sharaputdin and then they cut to the fans, one guy in the crowd was going, yeah!
He forgot his patch, so he was improvising.
Oh, my goodness. I'm like, that's kind of rude. But then
some may see it as rude, some may see it as supportive.
Hey, that's true. That's true. He supports. He's not mad at the assault charges. He doesn't kiss his girlfriend in public. Never. No, I don't think he has one. So yeah, that fight, he definitely won that fight. When I was reading and keeping up with the fights, I saw some people go, "Oh, robbery," and I'm like, "Ooh, maybe I have a case," because I told Jess that it was going to be closer than that. But it was an obvious win for Shara. Yeah, but Olenjacek, he really laid out the game plan for any future opponents. Just draw out the kick, punch him in the face, get a takedown. You're good.
Yeah, I was impressed with his game plan and his fortitude to stick to it. So
with Shara, his punches were landing harder than anything else. Mm-hmm. His punches and his elbows. I really liked the way that he was like sneaking those elbows in every time Olenjacek would like duck his head. So that's something people are going to have to look out for too. But I don't know why he doesn't lean on his boxing more, because that looked like the hardest shots landed and the kicks were just kind of fluff.
In any kind of interview I've heard from him, he wants to be, more of an exciting striker. He wants to be, not the wrestling kind of Russian. So I think maybe, and I mean, he doesn't have that much experience. So I think maybe his ideas of what kind of fighter he is and the fighter he wants to be and his skills are still developing. I think all of that kind of comes into a factor. So I think we're seeing him evolve, like, in the working atmosphere that it is. I think we're just going to keep seeing an evolution of him.
It's leveling up. Like a choose your character in Skyrim.
I don't know Skyrim either.
What? He looks like he'd be selling you wares in Skyrim.
Is that like the little hut that you go into to take a break and get supplies? That
It's like the person who would be like, here are my wares, and you buy like tinctures from him and potions.
So you got to say it like Zelda or something like that.
Okay,
That's
Zelda,
like,
okay.
Back when I used to play video games more frequently.
Yes, he looks like a character in Zelda. Yeah, it looks like, well, that's a lion, but that kind of game where, he would be wearing a smock and or maybe have a horse body and human.
That's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. What are those things called? Centaurs?
Centaur, Minotaur. Yeah. No, centaur.
I think it's a centaur. Yeah, the half human, half horse. That'd be like your perfect person, perfect boyfriend.
I don't think so, but I get how you got there. I get why you would think that.
But just a centaur in general. You don't like that? That's not you?
I mean,
horseman?
No.
No? Oh, it might be too much. Anyway, moving on. What did you think about, I mean, I already know, but what did you think about our boy, Tony Ferguson?
And Michael Chiesa?
It was, I feel like it could have been worse.
I feel like it's really similar to what you said. You knew it wasn't going to be like a bad loss if he lost. It was going to be a submission loss, which it was. You definitely called that one. I didn't like that this fight was at 170 because Tony's just better at 155. Small. I was like, what is happening here?
This is his first time fighting at 170?
It's not his first time, but he shouldn't be fighting at 170. Yeah. He just shouldn't. He's a 55er.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, he's tall and lanky, type. But he has a smaller frame for that. And you look at Chiesa and you're like, yeah, that's a 170 pounder. I don't know how he used to make 155. But it's, I mean, the fight was what it was. I was more focused on, the post fight. So what it sounds like is, that was probably the last one in his contract, or the UFC bosses are stepping in and saying, hey, no more. We're not going to give you another fight, or maybe that was the last on his contract. So either way, they don't want to see him fighting anymore. And he basically left one glove in the octagon and kept one with him, just in case, saying that, he still wants to fight, but he wants to fight in the UFC, and the UFC doesn't want him to fight. So it's a really tough thing. I've got to say, I commend him for wanting to keep fighting. It sounds like, though, he's putting him, I don't know why he hasn't been sparring for so long. I don't know exactly what's going on with him in the training room or in his personal life, but it just sounds like certain things need to get more orchestrated and fall into line, and more things need to happen that aren't happening.
Yeah. I think he looked good for the little bit that it was on the feet.
Yeah.
He was blocking everything. He was moving well. He was landing punches, splitting the guard with Chiesa. Not that much happened, but the little bit that happened, he still looks like he can fight. But then when he shot for that takedown and Tony kind of tried to counter it,
Chiesa just looked huge.
He just pushed him over.
Yeah.
He like that wasn't even a technique.
It was like if Chiesa was fighting me.
Yeah. He's just like, get out of here. Okay. That's not going to work. Like,
sorry.
Tried to do like a knee tap or something. Just fell backwards. He just looked so undersized in that moment when before I had been lying to myself saying, oh, he's doing pretty good. And then that happened. And I'm like, yeah, he's tiny. He's so small. And then after that, just how quickly Mike was able to get to his back, lock in the body triangle, and just make him pay. Like it wasn't a hard loss, like you said. It wasn't a scary one, but I felt like that was a good eye-opener for Tony, where before he would have a little bit of success. He would at least look competitive against top guys, and then to get in there and to get smoked by Mike at that weight class too, it's an eye-opener for him in a few things. One, weight class, not your weight class. Two, maybe you should stop. Maybe the next one isn't going to be such a gentle loss, you know, and to get blown out of the water like that, I think it just shows, it would show anyone, especially with such a huge loss streak, that, hey, man, the sport's passed you by. Like, it's time for that next chapter.
Yeah. I wonder why he hasn't been sparring. I wonder why he hasn't been, you know, training and preparing for these fights if he says he wants to fight and he keeps taking these fights and he's not. Is he not able to train to the best of his ability anymore? Because that's scary. Mm-hmm. Going into a fight unprepared, not sparring, not doing the things that are going to give you success is very scary to do. So he repeatedly keeps doing this. So I wonder what's going on.
And when did he say he last sparred?
It's been years, he said.
Years? Because that Michael Chandler front kick, that would take a long time to recover from. Like, he ate that thing so nasty. How many years
ago was that, though?
That was 2 years ago. So that could have been the trigger. He also got TKO'd by Justin Gaethje in 2020.
Okay.
That was before that. So I feel like a lot of times when you make the decision, rash decision like that, like, oh, I'm not going to spar hard anymore, I'm only going to do this type of thing, I'm only going to work with these people, it's because you're getting these moments in the gym that come out in the fight. Like, you're getting dropped in the gym, you're getting hurt, you're running and getting dizzy, you know, little things that show you that your CTE is building and, like, the concussion isn't going away. And you really got to sit down for a concussion to just stop giving you those symptoms. And I feel like Tony Ferguson has a hard time doing that, like a hard time just sitting down and not doing anything. Because even just going for a jog after getting knocked out,
that's jarring.
It's jarring. You can't hit pads. You can't go for jogs. You can't, like, do anything that's crazy that's going to shake your brain. You can't look too fast. You know,
no, you can't like bend that. Over. I know that I've felt that after a fight before. I, like, went down to tie my shoes and I felt like I was going to freaking flip over. I was like, what? Whoa. And that didn't go away for, like, that takes a couple months to go away. It's, you know, head trauma is a serious thing. And it's something that needs to be taken really, really seriously. And I'm happy to hear that he hasn't been sparring if that's what he was dealing with, because he was taking that seriously. But, you know, there's just other things that you need to take into consideration before you take a fight.
Yeah. And, you know, we've seen people come back from that. Like, you look at Andrei Arlovski. There was a long time where people were just like, oh, he has no chin, he shouldn't be fighting anymore. And that was years ago.
But he's evolved his style to keep him safe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it doesn't look like Tony's done that. Tony has had a very exciting fighting style in his career, and that's, you know, part of the reason he's accumulated all of this, you know, head damage, if that's what we're talking about. So for him, it needs to be a complete transformation in how he fights.
Yeah. Well, he did have, you know, a pretty competitive fight with Petty Pimblett. Like, it wasn't super competitive, but a more competitive Bobby Green's. He had a competitive fight with Bobby Green as well before he got choked out. So there were fights that he showed up to where he wasn't getting dropped. He wasn't getting just beat to shit, but he was still not winning in a way that he used to when he was in his prime. And I think that's when you really have to think about stepping away from it or changing things up or just maybe not competing anymore and just doing it for fun, coaching, whatnot. It's just a scary thing when you have so many losses in a row and you can't seem to want to step away from it. But hopefully he does what he feels is best. I kind of like that he half retired. It's a very Tony Ferguson
For
thing
sure.
to do.
Yeah.
Like Tony Ferguson's the type of guy that, you know, those little memes. Tony Ferguson's the kind of guy that leaves one glove on the cage, not two, when he retires, and then throws it to the crowd. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
No gloves anymore. But that was a really touching moment, and you can see how hard it is to walk away from it from his post-fight speech. Yeah. Tough times for the Fergmeister. And, you know, I thought it was also kind of telling how excited Chiesa was for winning. He didn't know if that was going to happen. He was surprised. He was like, oh, great. That worked.
I didn't notice that, but
They were pumped. Him, his team, his corner, like you see.
well,
what's
he's been
his
on a
name?
bit of a like inconsistent, you know, up and down in his career lately too. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
a win's
that's
a
scary.
win.
Yeah,
A
it's
win's a win.
scary. So he was coming off of 2 Bravo choke
Yeah,
losses, which is basically a head and arm choke, right?
yeah.
And then decision loss from Sean Brady. And to get matched up against someone who you're such the favorite against, but you respect their skills, you know that they're dangerous, it can be really scary walking into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. But I mean, to be fair, he's got to see that he has such an advantage. I mean, he's coming up against somebody with a losing record, coming up in a weight class. It's a fight that I would hope that he was confident that he was going to win.
I don't know. You gotta watch the reactions after.
I'll have to watch it.
Dude, he's like, yes. You know, I mean, the relief of breaking a 3-fight skid in itself is a great feeling.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like you're just like, finally. But there's always gonna be that little demon, no matter how confident you are in a matchup. There's always gonna be that little voice in your head, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, but I'm confident. But what if I lose?
Yes.
What if I lose? What does that mean?
No, that's
I'm
real.
so confident in this matchup. If I lose this matchup, I'm going to feel like I'm trash, you know? And so I feel like that all those emotions were kind of playing out after he got the sub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that.
So good job. You're back in the win column. And yeah, I'm wondering who they're going to match him up against next, because he was so high in the rankings for a while, and now he's not, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride for Michael Chiesa since his last 3 losses.
Well, he is in the win column now, and he has a nice cushy desk job, so he can take his time and figure out what's next for him. Honestly, he does have job security.
Yeah. Does he still do it? I haven't seen
Yeah.
him do it in a while. Okay.
Well,
the
he was
post fight
he was
shows.
in camp.
Well, no, before that though.
No, I've seen him still do it.
Okay, cool. Well, 2 other girls fighting for their ranking spot in our division was Dern versus Godinez.
I hate to say we told you so, but we told you so.
But this is one of
Godinez
those
looked
ones.
good.
This is one of those ones where people are like, "Oh, they robbed Loopy." This seems to happen with Loopy a
No.
lot. Loopy has
Stop telling her that. It's going to
Loopy-
hinder her from getting better.
she has
Stop it.
a solid group of followers, and I feel like DC is one of them. A solid group of followers who just go, "Loopy got robbed" after every close fight. And I think I feel like it's because she does a really good job of not reacting when she gets hit, coming forward, and then she lands big. And she gets her opponents to react more than she does, even if she's down on volume. But yeah, I thought it was a good Dern win. I was even leaning towards 30-27 just because that second round was super close. I felt like Dern did a little bit more, but then Loopy got that weird head and arm like lock at the very end. I felt like she didn't do anything with it, and it wasn't close. Like even if she had 2 minutes, it wasn't going to end up as a submission.
Yeah.
So I still could have seen them scoring that round for Dern. But yeah, it was a good fight. It was another competitive close fight. And yeah, Loopy looked good.
Since she's been working with Team Grosso, I've noticed really good evolution in her striking, offense and defense. I mean, she's always been, really good with the ins and outs, the straight punches, but just her putting things together. She seems more confident, just more confident in there. And her volume's been really good, but just Dern pushed through, and Dern got into, better positions, and she was more threatening. She was more, she did more damage. And I can understand how Loopy people would, cabbie for her, but I disagree.
Yeah. Yeah, it was even the first round was pretty close until Dern got that big takedown. But there were little moments where Loopy was having a lot of success, like in the clinch. It looked like she dropped her in the very early minutes of the round too. Like Dern sat down, popped back up, and then continued to attack. And then she really started landing, Loopy did. She really started finding her hook. After Dern would attack, Dern would come in with straight punches. Loopy would shell up and then throw a really nasty check hook right after. And the speed on that was pretty impressive, and it would get a big reaction from Dern every time. And I feel like that's just the way. That's
just the way Dern moves. She's not. So her striking is getting better, but she's not a super refined striker. So some of her reactions are a little dramatized.
Yeah, it's like when we were talking about Leon versus Bilal, the first fight. Every time Leon would throw like a 1-2, Bilal would go, whoa,
Yeah.
And which is why we thought that Leon had it in the bag. It is not because we do not like Bilal. One of the comments had to say.
I didn't see that.
We got a bunch of Bilal fans on our comments in our.
I'm glad he has fans.
Post show.
Nice. I'm kidding. Listen.
You're making it worse.
I know. I can't help myself. Listen.
There was that moment after, I forget who they showed, but then they cut to Bilal. And it was silent. Oh, it was when Tony Ferguson was walking out and everyone was like, Tony, Tony, Tony. And then they cut to Bilal. And it's just like, cricket.
Listen, I can't help it because, and maybe I shouldn't play like that, but it's just, you can't help it.
He does it to himself.
He does
it to himself. He's like the little brother that's always like bugging you.
Hey,
yeah.
Can I come too? Can I come hang out?
Yeah.
Hey, Mom said I could come hang out. Can I come hang out?
He has to hang out. You can't tell him not to hang out. He's like,
And so you got to make him pay for it while he's with you. You got to like trip him, like give him a wedgie, give him a noogie.
Make him not want to come out anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But he always wants to come out.
Always wants to come out.
He just wants to come out every time. But no, Bilal's super impressive. But the turnaround that he's made since that fight has been a huge one. And one thing that he did fix was that big reaction to any offense coming at him, anything that lands clean. And so a lot of times, even if it's not doing that much, the reaction looking dramatic, even if you're just trying to block. Some people wax on, wax off when they get hit. Whoa, they do the piano cat. Like, there's a lot of reactions that if you have solid boxing, you're taught not to do, that a lot of MMA fighters still do, because one, the gloves are smaller, so shit gets through, and also it hurts, and no one's taught them that poker face.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that Loopy has that Dern doesn't, that I think people were picking up on, and maybe that's why they saw Loopy's shots landing harder than Dern's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty clear 1-1, unless you didn't score that last 10-second barrage by Loopy in the second round. And then the third round was a pretty close one too, but I had Dern winning that one. Yeah, but it was a close fight. It was definitely, little adjustments could have been made for Loopy to take that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, dude. How does she make the weight? I think Dern looks taller than she is.
She's not that tall.
She's not.
Tiny.
She's short. She's maybe an inch taller than Loopy. An inch or two, but she looks like a normal sized person on TV.
It's the fish lens.
Yes, the
It's the
fishlets.
fishlets.
Did you see the
I need to get a
video?
fishlet. Yes.
Oh my god!
I was like, why does it look like that?
Why did they
I
do
mean,
that? People
I'm not
loved it.
mad.
No, people loved it.
I was
It
like, I
really
need to get a
stretched
fish
it
lens.
out, though. It made it look long.
A little bit long.
Yeah,
A little bit long, but round.
but it got the full view of it.
Yes.
It's like when you take a panoramic view, it looks a little distorted, but you still get an idea of what the entire thing looks like all of the Grand Canyon that you can see. That's what the Grand
Canyon.
Bunyan.
Canyon.
The Grand.
Canyon.
They got all the mountaintops with that fisheye lens.
I want them to use that with me.
I know, right?
I would like to see what that
Man, I feel like mine would just look like a big old mini fridge. Like,
Stop it.
you need the right angle for my butt to look like it does. The flattering angle. My hips go in because I'm an athlete and I kick a lot. So the divots are there. So it looks straight up and down from here. But when you do the 3/4 view, that's when you see that there's something back there. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I got a surprising booty. That's what they call it.
Yeah. I have very specific angles that I need to keep my booty at for it to look nice.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I step out of those angles and you're like, huh, where'd it go?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, shh, shh.
It's
Forget
an
about that.
optical illusion.
Forget about that. Just look over here. Look over here. Look over there. Look over there.
Yes, I need to practice hitting my angles if I'm gonna go like full panties and the weigh-ins with the fisheye.
It also matters what kind of undies you're wearing.
Yeah, well, those ones that they give you, you gotta hike them up.
No,
Otherwise, they look
stretch
like
them and hike them.
Yeah.
Like they are so not flattering. I'm like, why would you do this to
they
us?
pinch your butt cheek. So they squeeze it, so it looks like your
Mine
butt
looks like
is
baked
pouring.
bread.
Out. Yeah, it looks like a little muffin.
Yeah.
The booty coming out of the panties, and then it's also covers up just enough of the butt cheek that they look like granny panties unless you hike them up.
Yeah.
So you have to stretch them and hike them up.
You have to
For
make
the-
them look like full on like 1980s Budweiser,
Yes.
like bikini model.
Yes.
So you have to put them like way up high.
Yeah, like the workout videos.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jane Fonda panties. So y'all need to do better, Venom. I like most of the stuff that they give us when it comes to.
It does not fit me well.
No,
It does not.
I don't like the joggers that they give us for the weigh-ins.
Awful.
But everything else, like the leggings, the sports bras, even those fit me really nice. Like they don't choke like the Reeboks ones do. They don't
See.
stretch like the Reeboks ones.
The
The
workout.
Reebok ones used to.
Them things. The Venom fight kit bra is awful. That thing, it's like a corset. Like there's no stretch or give to it. I would
Yeah.
rather like double up on a bra and have a little bit more elasticity so I can expand my lungs and breathe than what they're doing. But their like workout gear is great.
Yeah, no, the workout gear is good. Now they have more of a stretchy bra, so it's not like
good.
that stitched, like you have to get in like a coat of armor.
Yeah.
Like lift your arms and they lower it onto you, and that's the only way that you could put it on.
Dude.
Now it's more of a stretchy fit, but I always get mine a couple sizes up. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm at medium or large now, and I just have to make sure that nip slipping will be hard. Before I go out there, but I prefer the looser too, because I don't know if like guys ever think about it, but if you're a girl and you're doing athletics and you have this tight thing across your lungs, it makes it hard to breathe.
Yeah.
It
That's what I'm
sucks.
saying. And I remember I had like a mini panic attack when I was trying my stuff on and off. Because when we lift up, like, you know, the lats come out. And I mean, I'm not huge up here, but I do still have some swimmer shoulders going on. And I tried to pull them up and then they got stuck.
Oh no.
And then I was like trying to, I had to like bend down. I was like, I don't know why I thought this was going to help me. And
now
I just
you can't breathe.
I just started whimpering and I had to like sit there for a minute and just calm down because I felt like I was never going to get out of that fucking bra again.
I'm sure people get called in to help all the time with that. Excuse me. Especially if you don't have any female cornermen, you're just there with a bunch of random like coaches, random male coaches. Like, excuse me, athlete department lady, can you help? Yeah, that's me after every jiu-jitsu class when I have to put on a sports bra right afterwards. Like, get out the shower, put on a sports bra, your body's still kind of damp, and it feels like a straight jacket.
It's the worst.
It's so the worst. But anyway, yeah, good job, Dern. Booty looked good as always. And then
Hughes and Dudakova.
yeah, let's talk about that one real quick because it's our weight class.
I thought both ladies showed a lot of growth.
We picked that one as well.
Yes.
We got that one right. Yeah, we know our people. We know our girls.
I thought Hughes showed a lot of improvement. I liked the way she she upped the volume. She just seemed to be a lot more aggressive. And I thought her fight IQ was there. And I mean, Dudakova as well, she showed some new wrinkles to her game by pushing the takedowns, getting up off the takedowns. She just showed, like, they both showed evolution in their games.
Yeah. Dudakova gassed a bit, though. And I'm wondering what happened there. Probably just inexperience, probably just, still working on that whole go recovery, go again. But she really crashed in the second round. And it was kind of her round until that happened. Like, she was doing good with going for the takedown still. Hughes was avoiding them. And then you just saw her break mentally. Like, it was just too hard. This fight was harder than she expected. And Hughes was able to jump on top of her, get her boxing going, really have her backing up. She still was able to throw while she was getting backed up, but she didn't really believe in it, it seems like. And it takes a while. They were saying in the commentary that she just started working with Ilia Toporia's boxing coach, Dudakova did, and she's getting more confident with her hands. But you can see the wrinkles are there. But she didn't really seem super confident once she got tired. And that's really when the boxing starts to save you, is when you get into the pocket with people and they're teeing off on you, and then you get comfortable, like, being in the pocket, landing your check hooks, throwing your combinations as well, and hoping you hit the mark. It looks like she had power when she would land against Hughes. She just didn't have the cardio to keep it up. Yeah.
What did you think about seeing her warm-up video?
Oh, I didn't see it. What was it?
So, and I didn't hear any audio on it. All I saw was the video of her warming up with swim goggles and one eye covered.
Wait, who is this?
Dudakova.
Oh, let me see. I'm going to look it up.
You have to go on Dana White's Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Or UFC Instagram.
Okay. What was she doing? She was doing
hitting
pads?
mitts. Yeah, she was hitting mitts.
So wild.
So the only thing I can think of is maybe they were just trying to really work on her focus. It's like when, you're doing like target practice with a gun or a bow and arrow or something like that. Sometimes you just want to focus in on one eye, although other people say that having two eyes open is the way to go.
Huh.
But it was an interesting warm up.
Maybe she's nearsighted. Maybe it has something to do with her actual vision. That's really interesting. I've never seen that before. I wonder if Topuria does that, because is that the same coach that's Toporia's boxing coach, or did he not come with her?
I don't know if he came with her or not. It could be part of their team. I'm not sure. I didn't find anything like in the comments exactly explaining it.
I need to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are always coming up with new strategies and techniques and reasons for why they're doing stuff, trying to be like cutting edge and stuff like that. I just wonder exactly what it was. I wanted to know if you saw it.
I've never seen anything like this. I'm glad you brought it to my attention. That's really funny. I wonder if you watch the fight back, if she's going to be throwing punches like she's aiming down the sights, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what that's about. But, whatever works for you, man. It's really odd.
Well, both of them showed improvement. I'm excited to see moving forward what else they do, especially Sam Hughes. Like, she, she's tough, she's game. So it's nice to see her starting to put the technique to work and her cardio looked great as well.
Yeah, she really put the her foot on the gas after she started feeling confident about being able to get back up or defend the shots. I'm looking forward to see her getting back in there. I think this is what she needs because she kind of got called into the UFC as a favor. Like it was when I got COVID, I was supposed to fight Tisha Torres, and then she got the call. Maybe she must have had less than a week to prepare. She got the call to fill in for me. And from then on, she's just been fighting tough people, having good performances, bad performances, but she's really another person who's learning on the job. So I thought it was interesting that they said one of her main focuses for this camp was mental. And when you get that call like that, you get brought in, you're a huge underdog, you don't perform as well as you think you can, you get another fight, lesser opposition, but maybe again you don't do as well as you think you can. A lot of times you have to go back and just say, why am I not doing what I do in the room in the fight? And it's good to see more and more fighters talking about that, because I do think it gets better fights out of you when you start focusing on that part of the game.
Yeah, I definitely think that vulnerability and speaking about things gives other people to, work on themselves, to say like, hey, me too. And it just helps us as athletes evolve. It helps the sport evolve. So I like hearing that.
Yeah. You think Dudakova might have been on antibiotics this time? And that's why she's so tired.
I don't know. I don't know. Could be.
Wash your parts that are unspeakable. Your parts that you're not allowed to talk about. Make sure you wash them.
Why are you talking about them?
Yeah.
Don't talk about them.
Don't talk about them. Stop it. All right. Well, we're going to take a break and then give you our bonus episode right after, if you remember. And we got some news, huh?
Yes, we do.
What are we going to talk about, Jess?
It's a secret. We can't tell.
Well, you can do a little preview.
Who wants to know about my fight?
Ooh, we have fight news on the bonus.
Yes. And then we're also going to talk about some underground fight clubs that are happening, that are trending right now.
Yes. Oh, and another thing I wanted to talk about is that Olympic controversy that's going on.
We need to talk about that.
With the chromosomes. So, we can dive into that. It's actually a little more deep than it seemed like in the beginning. So that's another thing that we can put out there. And but I was getting a little spicy.
Oh.
With Usman on Twitter.
Yes, I heard him clapping back.
Did you see that?
I'm like, did you write that?
Yeah,
did
right?
you do that, or did your friend do that?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, maybe we can hang out with you. Maybe you can come out with Big Sis after all. You're fun.
I know, that one surprised me. It kind of perked my ears up. I was like, okay, hello.
Yeah.
Smack talk. That was a good one.
No, I love it. Oh, and speaking of Smack Talk, we can recap a little bit of the PFL weekend I went on with our girl Jenna Bishop and talk about the mean things that we were saying.
I can't believe you said all of those things.
It was so mean, apparently.
She is
to her
vicious.
On the come up of their fight. So we'll get back to all of that in our bonus episode. Become a member. You can watch it tonight or wait, and it'll drop at midnight on Tuesday. We'll see you later.